Uh, well, okay, so got movies, a couple trailers, and TV out of the way. All right, Suits, Marcy, Bede, on to the biggie. The big topic for the show, and I'm glad we could have our guests join us, Suit, as objective outsiders to the subject matter at hand. Not having played these video games, not familiar at all with them. Well, actually, Bede, I think you are somewhat familiar with the second game in the series.
Yep.
Ah, well, how fortuitous. That second game I mostly want to address. And what I wish to discuss this fine evening is a little thing called Silent Hill.
Oh my god, Bishop.
Yep, there's the siren.
Yeah, that's freaking me.
And now this siren will cover the entire duration of this topic. But should we veer off track and come back to it, it will sound again. Yeah. But to narrow it down specifically, I want to address this HD collection, which is an updated re-release of the Konami's classic horror video games, Silent Hill 2 and Silent Hill 3. Apparently, 2 games constitutes an entire collection. It's more like a duo pack. But anyway.
So much bitterness in your voice.
Bitter, you say?
Slightly, sir.
Oh, you have no idea yet. Well, alright. To preface this, I want to say that I am open to anyone's opinion on anything, really. You, Suit, me, Marcy, B, we all have opinions on a wide range of subject matter. We may agree on some things, we may disagree, and no one is right or wrong. As long as one can explain their position with reasonable logic to back you up. So, I will entertain anyone's opinion on anything, even if they are to disagree with me. However, if there's one fucking thing that I am beyond a shadow of a doubt, absolutely 100% correct on, always, it's Silent Hill. There is to be no refuting this. You can try. And I'm not a Silent Hill fan. I'm a Silent Hill specialist. It's been my specialty for the better part of the last decade. I mean, someone could tell you they're a fan of something, but are you just going to take their word for it? I mean, if someone who says they're a Terminator fan, when I say, oh yeah, I love Terminator 3 and 4, they're the best yet, then they kind of just throw their credibility out the window. But yeah, well, before I get to this, Bede, Marcy, how well do you know the Silent Hill games?
Not really.
Well, I've played the first one, played some of the second, I played pretty much most of the fourth one, but I'm pretty much full aware of the, at least aware of what it's about and the story and how much of an influence these games are to horror video gaming.
So you have played them, but you never beat any of the entries?
I bet the first one.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. Still think that one's the best. You gotta beat 2 sometime. Well, let's rewind a bit to last summer. Konami is holding a pre-E3 event in San Francisco, and they debuted this announcement trailer for all the wonderful Silent Hill goodies that Konami is going to be rolling out within the year ahead. This included the new video game, the 8th game in the series, Downpour, which I was pretty meh on then, and I still am. And a new game for the PS Vita, Sony's new portable console, Book of Memories, which...
no, that game looks like crap.
Yeah, after
it really does.
Reading the plot summary, it sounds like a ripoff of Butterfly Effect. And I despise that movie. It literally is. But the other announcement they made, and the one I was most jazzed up about, is HD Collection. That's all we got, was just that Silent Hill 2 and 3 were going to be released for the PS3, and sort of like the way movies get Blu-ray release. So they're upgraded to today's standard of presentation. So I was like, oh, great, brilliant. Silent Hill 2 and 3, upgraded to modern graphical standards. Sweet! Not too long after that announcement, we get that bombshell dropped on us that they're replacing all the voice acting for this HD re-release of these games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm 100% okay with that though, but I guess we can get into that later. So.
So the fan community was rife with curiosity, but also confounding bewilderment at this news. But some people were like, "Oh, new voice acting! This is going to breathe new life, fresh newness into those old games that I've already played so many times over." And then there's others who said, "Well, they probably wanted to improve the voice acting performances to today's standards." Yeah, because 2001, voice acting was so shit. Even though I've gone back to play Resident Evil 2 and 3, which predate Silent Hill 2 by a couple of years, and the voice acting in that is quite excellent. They had professional voice actors. So I didn't necessarily buy that. But there's a huge question mark as to why they would undergo this change. Well, Marcey and Bede, can I ask you, not being a fan of these games, but does that strike you as strange? Or do you think they had good intentions with this? Just given this news. That they replaced the entire voice cast of a game or any kind of media for re-release.
It doesn't really make that much sense to me, and I could understand it if the original creators were like wanting to update it or change it in some way, but it still remains just kind of strange.
I can see your point, and you're truly an objective, unbiased outsider. How about you, Bede? Did you have any?
It does seem strange, but even not just in video games, but also in other properties, even anime films, like I know Akira has had 3 different voice cast changes over the years, and as well as anime films. They sometimes always bring out different voice casts for films every couple of years. I mean, even something as recent as Arrietty, which I haven't had a chance to see it, but that's got 2 separate voice casts, one for European and voice for European, British cast, and for in the US they got an all-American cast.
I actually think the casts are different though.
Well, that's probably true, yeah. Yeah, that's probably true, yeah.
Yeah, I never heard of that. It's strange that they would make a different English dub for the UK audience. I guess Disney handled the release domestically here, so maybe it's different distribution. I don't know.
It's most yeah.
Actually, I'm glad you brought that point. It is very similar to dubbing over Japanese anime or any foreign language film at all. Except this ain't a different language. It's still English, and at the very least, yeah, it should strike you as strange. Shouldn't it? But yeah, there's a huge question mark, speculation running rampant throughout the community, why that would be. Yeah, I'm not sure. Certainly, confuse and perplex me as to why that was. But it makes more sense for anime because it's in a different language. You know, you need to market it to domestic audience. So not everyone wants to read subtitles. They want to read while they're watching a movie. But anyway. How about you, Sue? When you first heard about this, what did you think?
When I first heard about it, I kind of took the news as I did with a lot of things about this. I was like, alright. I mean, I don't know. I mean, if you really wanted to get technical, like, I have my copy of Silent Hill 2 that I bought.
Well, I gotta, let me stop you there.
You know,
I just we'll get into that, but just upon hearing the
no.
Not knowing anything else. Okay,
it just didn't bother me. And, you know, I was just like, you know, okay, because you know, because the point I was about to make was that from remembering the original game, the voice acting was terrible to me. I thought it was awful. I thought it was awful in both games, actually, 2 and 3. And if they were going to get professional modern-day actors to redo it, I was like, okay. I mean, that can only be a good thing. And so that's how, I mean, I'm not saying I was like fully endorsing it, but instead I was just kind of like, well, it could be a good thing. And I just kind of was like, okay. Because just survival horror games in general have such a horrible reputation with voice acting. I mean, the original Resident Evil games, like, if you want a barrel of laughs, just go watch the cutscenes from those games. I mean, because the voice acting is so awful. And the Silent Hill games, the first few are no exception. I mean, it's not, to me, it's not good. I mean, we have James saying, oh no, but instead of like actually freaking out, he's like, oh no. You know, there's like no emotion coming. And if you could get a real actor in there to do it, I was like, okay. I was like, fine.
So you believe that they were trying to improve the voice acting performance?
I don't know what they were trying to do. I don't know what they were trying to do. I'm just saying, like, from my opinion, as I'm not a hardcore Silent Hill fan, but I've played every game, and I would say I'm a fan of the series from a pure gamer point of view. And I was like, I can take this as a good thing. Like, I wasn't infuriated about it, saying this is a travesty, but at the same time, I wasn't like gung-ho about it. I was just like, it could be a good thing. It could be. You know, I was kind of very in the middle of the road.
That's what a lot of people in the community said. They looked on the side of, they veered on the side of optimism. They're so optimistic. Blindly, even. Perhaps, I disagree with you that they're awful. Stilted, flat, wooden at times, perhaps. But, you know, I won't get into that. Basically, I'm an inquisitive guy. I have to question things that sound amiss, awry. As Marcy mentioned, strange. It sounded like a strange occurrence to me. Well, fast forward a bit more after that. It was announced to August of last year. The guy he, I believe that's how you pronounce his name, the voice actor, the main dude in Silent Hill 2, he comes out in an interview and basically said it was legal matters, certain issues with royalties and residuals not being paid to the original actors as to why Konami hired a new cast. And through all this, and I don't believe they still haven't made a official statement, Konami has not responded to this at all. But the producers of the Silent Hill series have come out to say, yeah, Konami never responded to any of these allegations, I should say. But the producers of the Silent Hill franchise, who are in charge of it now, well, the main dude in particular, he came out to say that they, the actors, are not owed anything. Their performances are the property of the game company, Konami. So it's the voice actor, Guy Sihi, his word against theirs, them being Konami.
Yeah.
Oh, don't be afraid to chime in too, Bede and Marcy, anytime you want. Well, so Guy Sihi, he comes out a bit later and states what happened from his side of things, how it all went down. That he was emailed a letter from Konami's legal department or something, asking him to sign a waiver. And he didn't know what it was exactly, but it was for this HD collection, and he sent them an email back stating that he just wanted to discuss the matter. And he never heard back from him again. Next thing you know, this new voice cast is hired. That's Konami for you. Well, just from the outset, that sounds kind of like a real dick move on Konami's part to not even engage in a discussion, talks. Again, if you are to believe what Guy Sihi says about how this all went down. It's like, oh no, this guy's he's gonna cause trouble for us. We might have to go to court. You know, let's just hire a new voice cast and record it. It'll be less costly. At least that's how I can imagine things went. Something of that sort. Well, what do you think, Marcy and Bede? They never got back to him after he responded. They wanted him to sign a waiver, and he just wanted to talk, is all. If you can believe him.
Hard to say, I mean, it could be anything. Like, I don't know, but video game companies, no matter who you are, can be very dodgy, so...
Yeah.
Who knows?
Was very peculiar. Yeah, who knows what to believe or who to believe in all this. We don't know facts. I don't work for the company. None of the fans do. All we got is the word of that fucking producer, who I'm going to come back to in a moment. Long story short, after a humongous campaign by fans who contacted Guy through Facebook, because he didn't know how big these games were and what they meant to people. So he comes out like at the end of August and makes a statement stating that he waived his right to his voice performance and rallied the other voice actors to do likewise. There was even a whole get-together in L.A. Photos were taken, pizza and beer were had. It was a shindig for all these original voice actors to sign off on those fucking papers, to finally approve the use of their original performances for this new HD release. At least for Silent Hill 2. Silent Hill 3 wasn't so lucky. So Silent Hill 2 will have the option for either the original, they call it the classic voice cast, or the new performers. Great news, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, giving the option is always better, I guess.
Yeah. Wonderful. Fantastic, even. Yet I'm still not happy. Because why are these new fucking voice actors on this collection to begin with? If, you hired them because you thought you couldn't get the original voice performances to be in this part of this re-release, why are they on here?
Well, I mean, if they paid to have the performances done, I mean, it's better to go ahead and use them than just toss them away. I mean, and plus you're giving the option. Period. I mean, they already stated they had new performances, and then later got the waiver cleared right for the originals, and so it would be them going back on their original word to have new ones to begin with that they didn't include them. So just giving the option, why not? I mean, it doesn't hurt that you can play the game with the old ones if you want, and you can play the games with the new ones if you want. It's your choice. I mean, I don't see how it harms anything. It's there. It's an option. You don't have to. If you don't want to use it, you don't have to use it.
I do give them a bit of credit for prompting the player to choose before they start playing instead of.
Hello again.
I'm back. Yeah.
Hello.
Am I back now?
Yep.
Back again.
Maybe. Right.
We'll see how long it can hold.
Sorry.
All right. Sorry. This is the worst time to be bitching out on me. well, I do give them credit for prompting the game player to actually choose which voice performance before they start up the game. So they didn't just, shoehorn the new ones as the default when you start playing. And that to change it, you have to go into the option menu. But no, they actually have you choose.
Yeah.
Of course, they put the new voices on top instead of the other way around when you're selecting it on the screen. But anyway, well, Marcy, actually, you said as long as the original creators were involved, like they wanted to do something new with the re-release, you're okay with that, right?
Mm-hmm.
The original creative team behind whether it's a game like this or a movie, right on.
Mm-hmm.
Right you are. Except this game re-release, the franchise as a whole, it doesn't involve the original game creators anymore. It hasn't for a while. And from what I can gather, reading things online, other HD collections, this is the only HD game collection, re-release, for PS3, Xbox 360, that doesn't have the involvement, the input, or approval of the original Japanese team that created these games to begin with. Yeah, I got a big problem with
it. Well, I mean, they stepped years ago,
Is that blessing for the others to do it?
Sorry?
Like, if they're not involved anymore, have they officially given it over to someone else, or did they? What's the story?
Yeah, they did 4 games and they just disbanded because they wanted to move on to other projects.
Yeah, this is how I view that. I mean, okay, it doesn't have their approval or they didn't do it, but they have no ability to do it right now, and this is a collection fans have been wanting for a while, and they're getting it. But, you can't have your cake and eat it too, You can't you can't want this, but then be upset that the original team has nothing to do with it when there is no original team anymore to do it, That's just, but again, that's just my opinion.
I don't have all the facts, and, there's a difference between who's handling Konami of Japan and Konami US. They're different culturally. They handle things differently. But this is mostly Konami of the US. In fact, what I read from an interview with the dude who does the translating for those original games, he said that Konami of Japan tried to stop this release after this controversy with the actors being changed.
Mm-hmm. This is getting frustrating, sir.
Yeah, see, this is why I was questioning whether I should carry on with this, but
Konami doesn't want you to.
Yeah, see, they're listening in. They got my place bugged.
You know too much.
I'm a man who knew too much.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
As opposed to Bill Murray, who knew too little. Well, no, Stu, you're. I'm on one side of this thing, and you've taken sort of the opposite stance. You're on the other side of the fence. That we're sort of sounding like the Star Wars fans that get up in a tizzy about the fucking Blu-ray releases.
Well, I don't want to say I'm on the opposite side. I'm just on the side of indifference, kind of, because my opinion is, look, if you don't agree with this collection, if you don't like it, if you don't like the changes done to it, then don't spend the $40 on it. These games are out there. You can still go to a GameStop or go on eBay and buy the originals if you want. Or, like a lot of fans, I'm sure you already own them. I mean, if you just want that experience of the original game, you can still have it. You don't have to buy this. And so if you really want to make a stance, ignore it. Like I remember a couple years ago when the god-awful Nightmare on Elm Street remake came out, I was listening to a podcast, I forget which one, but it was a horror movie one, and they were talking about Platinum Dunes, who keeps putting these films out, these remakes that are just awful. And the guy said, you know why they keep making them? Because we keep going to see them. Because we keep giving them $30, $40 million opening weekends and give them the money to make another one. That's why. And so if you want to make a difference and you don't want to see this anymore, don't go see them. Hold your money back. You don't have to spend it. You don't have to go see it. If you don't want to see the Friday the 13th remake, watch the original. I mean, just keep your. You don't have. You can be upset about this if you want. I mean, whatever. But
Suit,
you're so upset about it.
It's not about me.
But you don't have to.
It's not about me. It's about. Part of the reason for this release is to reach out to a new generation of fans who will be experiencing these fucking games for the first time ever. My thing is, this is not the way they should be playing these. This is not the way they should be experiencing them for the first time without the creative input of the original Japanese team.
But is it still possible to buy the originals? Is it still possible, though? You can buy the originals.
You tell a legion of kids today, these ADD kids, who are all about, what's the best modern tech has to buy, to go back to the lower tech of PS2 or PS1 and tell them to go play it on that. How successful you'll be.
Look, I mean, I don't know, but I'm just saying that but I'm just saying the option's still there. And it's better for someone to, it's better for someone to experience them, period, than not at all. I mean, in my opinion. I mean, okay, so what if maybe this graphical smudge on the ground is taken out? Is that really going to make a difference in the story? Is it really going to make a difference in what the characters do in the story? Is that going to change the outcome of the game? I mean, no, it doesn't. That's what the games are ultimately about.
Everything is intertwined
the journey
together.
and the end and how you get there.
It's the story combined with the visuals and the music and the voice performances. They all intertwine. It's not any one thing. So if you're altering the content of one aspect, that's enough. To me, that's wrong without the original creative authors or authors.
But if you think it's wrong, you still have the option to either partake or not. That is ultimately my point. That if you're so upset about it, then you have the ability to just ignore it. You don't have to go buy it. Let someone else buy it. I mean, you don't have to. It's not hurting you.
It's about trying to reach out to other people not familiar with the series. And it's hard enough getting people to play these fucking games on modern-day systems, on PS3 and Xbox, much less going back to experiencing them the original way on the PS2.
Yeah, and I think we already kind of, me and you discussed that at an earlier point, is that, I mean, what 15-year-old gamer today is going to even be interested in Silent Hill 2? It's a slow burn of a game that really requires a particular attitude to play.
But if they're going to play it, in my cases, the original Japanese team should have been overseeing the production. And if you don't have the original creative authors involved or get their approval, don't do it. Do you think I'm being harsh on this? I'm being too harsh.
No, I don't think that you're being harsh. I just think the issue is ultimately just void because right now I don't have it. I didn't buy it, and I still have the ability to choose not to if I don't agree with it. I mean, like today, BioWare caved in and said they're going to release DLC that changes Mass Effect 3's ending. That pisses me off because I hate the fact they caved to fan pressure and they're changing the ending. But it's a DLC. I have the choice whether or not to go buy it and have my ending change or to stick with the ending that I may not have liked, but I felt ultimately was their original vision. I have that choice. I have the ability to buy that new ending or not.
But you still have the original creators making decisions there. And hey, the original Japanese team, they're not involved with Konami. They're not involved with these games. So it's not necessarily wrong in terms of legality. Konami, they own all of this shit. They do whatever they want. It's wrong in principle. There's a certain moral and ethical issue here. It goes beyond just a simple, it's my favorite game and I want to experience it the way I want. It's taking somebody else's art and screwing around with it without their input or involvement or approval.
But
this can go for anything.
Rights to the game. But if they own the rights, they can do what they want with it. I mean, and the original team's not even around to have a say-so anymore. So, I mean, and fans wanted this, so what are they going to do? I mean,
like I said, it's not wrong.
Are they going to?
It's not wrong.
Are they going to piss off the fans by not releasing it? I mean, or are they going to piss off the fans by releasing it? I mean, double-edged sword.
It's not wrong
You know.
legally. It's wrong in principle. It's wrong morally. And I just like a little more acknowledgement when the majority of the fan base, they're sucking Konami's cock, to put it not so delicately. And it's not good for the franchise. And it used to be an IP, this series. It used to be an intellectual property, but now I'm seeing the I slowly but surely being extracted, and the P, which used to stand for property, now being replaced with product.
I don't know. I mean, last year they re-released my favorite game of all time, Shadow of the Colossus in HD. And if they had screwed around with it and changed it, I still have my original copy sitting right over there.
Let me ask you: Did the original creator,
pick up and play?
Was the original creator of the game involved with that HD release?
They're busy making The Last Guardian right now, and so I think pretty much Sony just took it over because they own Team Ico. They pretty much just took it over and they just did it. Now, whether or not they had approval to do it, I don't know. I didn't get into
I'm willing to bet that
and look into it.
Creator did. And Hideo Kojima, Metal Gear Solid, he overseed that one. And if he wasn't, I can imagine the outrage of the Metal Gear Solid fans. How that turns.
I don't know. To me, it's just such a non-issue to me. I mean, or I don't want to say non-issue. It's just such a. It's just. It's not one that like, bothers me.
You're saying that it's better to do it than not at all, just so that we can have these fucking games at all, to play on PS3s and in HD and glossy newness in all its glory.
I mean, possibly, but even still, I mean. But even still, the fans who wanted these so badly asked for them, so,
Well, if they're done right, sure. Are they being done right? Well, say Bede, Marcy, did you have any input at all?
In a way, I don't know, just to interject a little, just take something like a simple game such as Super Mario Brothers, and that kind of the original game itself underwent enhancements when they made like Super Mario All-Stars, and then upon like the anniversary release on the Wii. And for me, I can understand why they do it, but I always go back and play on my original Nintendo. I don't play it on All-Stars or anything else. And I guess in a way, it's kind of, when you look at things, if you have that choice, as like Sue said earlier, you don't have to buy into it. And, in the end, while there are enhancements, I enjoy going back to the original. So, in a way, I don't really see much of a point in doing it because people will still go back to the original.
If it's not done right.
Yeah, I mean...
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't mind on those games, but I still enjoy looking at it and playing it on my Nintendo.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, Yosh, who's going to buy this collection? Is it going to be casual gamers, or is it going to be hardcore Silent Hill fans who want to play these games updated? I mean, it's going to be those. I mean, what person's going to walk into what 15-year-old who's never heard of Silent Hill is going to walk into the store, see Silent Hill HD Collection 2 and 3. I've never even played 1, but let me pick this up. I mean, it's not going to happen. I mean,
hey, I'm fighting an uphill battle with all my Silent Hill, fellow Silent Hill faithful, that it's not a popular series. It's never going to be popular. It's not going to stand up to the big boys, the God of War, or its direct competition, Resident Evil.
I think it has its place, though. I think it does. Like, I think if you talk to any gamer and you say Silent Hill, they'll know what you're talking about. Or most of them.
Screwing around with the artistry, and that's what the main focus of the series has always been, is the art, and not gameplay, although you probably have a different opinion of that. Yeah, not a good idea, from my standpoint. And, yeah, maybe
I'm not disagreeing with you on that whatsoever.
But you don't think it's important as I'm making this out to be? Either Silent Hill series or this game?
I'm not disagreeing with you that it's a bad idea. I'm just saying that if it's a bad idea, then you still have the choice whether or not to participate. That's all I'm saying.
You know, I don't fault you since you're not as wrapped up in this series as I am. But the fan community on the forums, they won't even acknowledge that this is a screw job to Team Silent. They don't even care that, and I just, it crushes my soul to know that, you know, how undermined the Japanese team is considered by a lot of the fans. The so-called fans.
Well, I mentioned it a minute ago. I'm one of the very few Mass Effect fans that took today's news of they are going to make a new ending as bad news. So, I guess I know what you mean by fighting an uphill battle, because I actually had about a 50-comment argument on Facebook today with some people.
Oh, jeez.
That BioWare is compromising their artistic integrity by catering because everyone today feels so entitled. Right. I mean, everyone today feels like they're owed everything and they deserve something. Like, I hated the ending of Mass Effect 3. You owe me a better one, BioWare. I'm entitled to a better one. Damn it. No, you're not. You're a consumer.
You pointed out what I was thinking a lot lately. Like, have gamers today, have they become so spoiled and selfish that we got to have the games in the best package possible, the newest and the brightest and the best presentation? Nothing less will.
I don't think it's just games. I think it can go to movies. I think it can go to music. I mean, like when it comes to bands, I mean, how many bands that are still going today that have been around for a while do you hear people go, "Oh, I wish they would do a record like such and such," and they mention a record from like 20 years ago because they feel like they're entitled to that record again, or Jurassic Park getting released in 3D, you know.
Yeah, sure. And
I hate that they're doing. I hate that they're doing that because I'm entitled to them not doing that.
Right. You would rather they not do it.
No one's owed anything. You're a consumer. If you don't want to partake in it, don't partake.
But it's like,
right? I mean, if you
the Silent Hill fans, they're like, oh, I just want these fucking games in HD and on my plasma, LCD fucking TV, on PS3. I don't care. Do whatever you got to take. You know, screw around with the art. Change the music. Change the voice acting. Are you serious? It's almost to the point that they're not going to resemble the games that were originally created. And I made this comparison quite a bit with this situation. Star Wars, the Blu-rays, I mean, you have that fucking fan base just nuts over the alterations and changes Lucas.
But you know what? Its original creator made the changes. He's entitled to do what he wants with it because it's his property. I can respect what he's done, and some things I completely agree with, other things I don't, but if this is how he feels it should be, that's his right to do it. And in the end, I don't necessarily have to watch that because I can go back and watch older edits that are what I like. There's not enough changes in them. And it's what I grew up with. I can go back and watch that anytime I want. I can watch the newer versions. You know, I think it's his right, and I don't have, you know, it's not my place to complain because ultimately this was his vision, and he's allowed to do that. If somebody else came in and said, I want to make these changes, well, no, because that's not your vision. It's the same when a director makes a film and the studio comes in and edits the fuck out of it and changes it completely. I am so against studios doing that. I don't care if they think they're making it better. It's what the director's vision was. You should see his movie, bad or not. And that just makes me to no end. And that's almost, you know, it feels like it's the same kind of thing.
I bet you could find people that say if they got someone other than Lucas to make the changes, it would actually be much more a favorable result. But okay, Marcy, so you are kind of in the camp of those who are of the mind of just give me Star Wars on Blu-ray. I don't care if you make the changes. Well, it's better to have it than not at all.
For me, you know, the changes are there. That's the man who created it. That's his vision. I can't argue with somebody's original vision.
True, you can't argue with the creator. the original author.
No, he has every right to do so.
True, he has the right.
And
I mean, that's a great argument. I could also...
I'm okay with it. While I don't agree with some of it, there are some that I definitely agree with. And, you know, if I wanted to go out and make my own Star Wars version, I mean, I don't even think I might think, oh yeah, I can do better.
Well, hell, even
it's not really, you know, my call to say that I can.
Yeah,
and, you know, it's compromising the original vision. I mean, I've seen sort of like fan edits of Star Wars, but they're more along the lines of doing something different and not really compromising the film. Like there's one which just puts in deleted scenes, voiceovers, interviews, and all this kind of stuff. And in that respect, I mean, it's kind of like a documentary rather than changing the film. And that's something I'm fine with. But, you know...
I'm glad that you brought up that word, compromise.
Yeah.
Artist visions being compromised. Well, certainly, there's that. But I could also see the argument for the fans for making a case that they shouldn't be altered. The original, the way they were originally, should be preserved. But at the same time, George Lucas can do whatever the fuck he wants because he is the creator.
I mean, in regards to the game, if they just want to enhance the picture to be in HD like they do with films from DVD to Blu-ray.
With games, it's not.
I think that they're kind of changing a lot more than just enhancing a picture quality.
Yeah, games are a lot more complicated than just cleaning up a movie.
Yeah. That's where it
Blu-ray.
kind of gets a bit, well, you know, I mean, you know, I go on just as an example. You know, the Nintendo Wii has the virtual console and you can download games. But these are the very same games that were on Nintendo or Super Nintendo. They haven't enhanced them, they haven't changed them. So, you know, you're allowed, well, they haven't, you know, they've given people the opportunity to have these games how they were originally released. And I think that's the perfect idea of doing that, for example. Because I don't want to play a game and have it look weird and not as it was. I'd like to see it in its original form that, you know, the people that made it intended it to be.
Yes. Funny you bring that up, about it original game looking weird in the new presentation. I may come around back to that for this. I do want to move on to something else here, but, yeah, you know, maybe I'm too close to this thing, you know, and I'm biased for it. And maybe you're right, too. Maybe I am too harsh on Konami and this whole situation. Maybe I am. But consider this. Maybe we're too harsh on something like a little thing called The Thing from 2011, last year. The Thing prequel/remake. The prequel. Because we were pretty fucking harsh on the movie, and I hadn't even seen it.
It's a pretty shit movie. It's not about, you know, copying the original or anything. It's just a shithouse movie.
Yeah, Stu, you railed on that pretty fucking hard, didn't you? Can I join you?
Yeah.
You would have rather...
a structured film.
So,
simple as that.
So am I to assume that you'd rather they not have done it at all than to have gotten it?
They can do what they want because I still have John Carpenter's original.
But if you had a preference,
if
you had a preference, you would have rather them not bother at all.
I would rather them have made a good movie instead of an absolute shithouse one.
But since it turned out that way, it was better for them to not.
In that case,
I mean, I guess you could spin it that way, maybe. But.
Because the way you're telling me for this HD thing, that, you know, you're indifferent, well, there are people that say, hey, lay off the people that made The Thing. They can make a new one. The new audience today, this generation, they deserve a thing. That old movie from 1982, that's old hat. Cruddy special effects and, oh, no CG at all.
If someone thinks that they're cruddy special effects, they need their eyes examined because something's not working.
I'm just trying to make a comparison here. There are people that would say, you know, hey, you're being too harsh on the thing. It's for kids today.
Because I mean, it's not.
And
Yeah,
they
I mean,
say, hey, you got the old movie, so what's the problem with them doing a prequel, remake, premake?
I mean, yeah. It turned out crap, but it was crap more so. It wasn't just crap because they screwed up things that worked in the original. I mean, like, there was a lot of things wrong with it just as a film, period, you know.
Exactly.
I mean, the acting was bad. CGI was bad. I mean, my main problem with the film, sure, was that they totally messed up what the thing is supposed to be. Sure, that was my main problem, but there was a lot more than just that wrong with it. You know,
I didn't.
It's something what a lot of like horror remakes suffer from. It's just a shit fucking movie.
Yeah, we covered it pretty extensively in that episode. I just wanted to point out that there would be people say, hey, you're just being an asshole for railing against the movie just because it's not up to your standards of that original
there were
movie.
There were some people that said that.
So, too, could you say that maybe that same idea could apply here? Just maybe. Just consider it.
Sure. I mean,
okay.
Yeah. I mean,
that's all
sure.
all I wanted to hear from you.
Well, I
I'm
guess
not sure I'm
also
making
to
any
prove I'm
points. I'm not sure I'm making any fucking point.
To prove I'm a little bit of a hypocrite. To prove like I mentioned Mass Effect 3 earlier. Like the main reason that whole news pissed me off is because fans this time it was fans pressured BioWare into compromising their artistic integrity, and that really offended me and pissed me off. So.
Oh, if Silent Hill fan base got their way with how these fucking games were made, that hasn't gotten to that point. I'm not sure how it would turn out. I mean, the developers now, they actually do get a lot of fan input. They even held a contest for people to design like a gravestone, and they put it into the new game, Downpour, as the winning. There were like 2 or 3 winners. They're actually in the game.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of interactivity. The final thing on this one issue, it seems like to me that the ideals of artistic integrity and creative intent are taking a backseat to purely financial gain and profit margin as the top priority. Yeah. Artistry is going by the wayside in favor of that almighty dollar.
I would not disagree with you at all.
Because really, you got the new game, the other fucking PS Vita game, and this HD collection. What does it boil down to? If you're Konami. That fucking dollar
Ted
sign.
DiBiase's theme right now.
The what?
Money, money, money. Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man.
I wish I had that.
Pretty much.
Okay, so you're not blind to this, like incredulously a lot of the Silent Hill fan base is. That
no, but my ultimate opinion is I agree with you on some of your points, but ultimately I'm just like whatever. You know, you can buy it or you can't. I mean, so
I think it's pretty morally reprehensible and shit.